My name is Sophia Carter. 2 weeks ago, I was sitting on my couch holding my husband's hand when my sister called screaming that he was dying in surgery, and that was the moment my life split in two. If you're watching this, pause for a second and tell me your city in the comments. I read every single one. And if you enjoy intense family and marriage drama stories like this, subscribe now, because what happened next still feels unreal even to me. That night felt normal. Daniel and I were watching an old horror movie, lights dim, popcorn bowl between us, his arm resting behind me like it had for 12 years. Then my phone rang. It was my sister, Emily. She never calls that late unless something is wrong. Her voice was shaking. "Sophia, your husband had a severe accident. He's in surgery. Come fast." I laughed. I actually laughed. "That's impossible," I told her. "Daniel is sitting right here." I even looked at him and smiled. Daniel frowned slightly, confused. He took the phone from my hand. "Emily, calm down," he said gently. "There must be a mistake." He listened quietly, nodded, then handed the phone back. "Probably someone who looks like me," he said softly. "Hospitals mix up IDs all the time." He sounded calm, too calm, but I told myself I was overthinking. Still, something in my chest wouldn't settle, so I grabbed my coat and drove to the hospital. The entire drive, my mind repeated the same sentence: "He's at home, he's at home, he's at home." When I reached the emergency entrance, Emily rushed toward me. Her eyes were red. "They already operated," she whispered. My heart started beating in my throat. A doctor approached us. "Mrs. Sophia Carter?" "Yes." "Your husband was brought in after a high-speed collision. He lost a lot of blood, but surgery was successful." My brain refused to process it. "There's a mistake," I whispered. The doctor opened the ICU door, and I saw him. Daniel, bandaged, unconscious, the same scar near his eyebrow, the same wedding ring, the same freckle on his left hand. I felt the floor disappear under me, because an hour earlier, I had kissed my husband on our couch. My hands started shaking uncontrollably. Emily grabbed my arm. "Sophia, what's wrong?" I couldn't say it out loud. If that was my husband, then who was in my house? I stepped outside and called Daniel. He answered immediately. "Hey," he said softly, "are you okay?" My voice trembled. "They say you're here." Silence. Then a quiet chuckle. "See, I told you, it's confusion." His tone was steady, warm, familiar, but something inside me felt wrong. When I returned home, he was waiting in the living room, concern on his face. He stood up and hugged me. His arms felt real. His scent was the same. His voice was the same. He made tea for me, listened carefully as I described what I had seen. "That must have been terrifying," he said gently. And I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. The next morning, I returned to the hospital alone. The unconscious Daniel hadn't woken up. Doctors confirmed his fingerprints matched, dental records matched, driver's license matched, DNA was being processed. Every piece of evidence pointed to one truth. That was Daniel Carter, my husband. So who was sleeping in my bed? I didn't confront him. Instead, I watched for days. And then I began noticing small things, tiny delays before answering personal questions. He stirred his coffee differently. He hesitated when I mentioned our anniversary trip. He called my mother Mrs. Hale instead of Mom. Little details, almost invisible, but real. One night while he slept, I stood in the doorway watching him. The man looked exactly like my husband, but he didn't feel like him. 3 days later, Emily called again. "Sophia, I found something." We met privately at the hospital. She showed me security footage from a traffic camera near the accident site. The car crash had been violent, but moments before the collision, another camera showed Daniel stepping out of the car, getting into a black SUV with someone else driving the car into the intersection. I stopped breathing. "Zoom in," I whispered. The SUV driver turned slightly toward the camera. It was Ryan, Daniel's best friend, his business partner, a man who had been in our house dozens of times. Suddenly, everything started connecting. Daniel had recently increased his life insurance policy, $5 million. He had also been pushing me to sign updated asset documents, power of attorney, financial control, shared property authority. If Daniel died suddenly, everything would transfer cleanly. If I signed those papers first, control would be his. My stomach turned cold. Emily dug deeper. She found private clinic records. Ryan had undergone multiple reconstructive procedures over the past year: facial restructuring, scar replication, minor bone adjustments. The final surgery? 2 months before the accident. The real Daniel was supposed to die that night. Ryan would step into his identity permanently. Insurance money, company control, my assets, my inheritance from my father, everything. They never planned for the hospital to save him. That mistake destroyed their plan. I went home and acted normal. I smiled, cooked dinner, held his hand. He never suspected I knew. Meanwhile, Emily helped me collect everything: bank transfers between Daniel and Ryan, encrypted emails discussing Phase 2, insurance updates, medical consultation receipts, traffic camera logs. I waited, because the most dangerous person in the room is the one who already knows the truth. 2 weeks later, Daniel insisted we finalize the financial authority documents. We met in a conference room with lawyers present. He squeezed my hand. "You trust me, right?" I looked into his eyes and smiled. "Yes." Then I stood up. "Before I sign, I'd like everyone to watch something." The screen behind us turned on. Traffic footage, clinic reports, insurance increases, DNA confirmation of the real Daniel still alive in ICU. Ryan's face went white. He stood up abruptly. "This is insane." The door opened. Police officers stepped inside. I had already reported everything: identity fraud, attempted murder, insurance conspiracy, financial manipulation. Ryan tried to deny it, but there was nowhere left to run. He was arrested in that room. Daniel was charged as co-conspirator. The real Daniel survived, but when he finally woke up, he looked confused, weak, broken, but real. When he saw me, he cried. That was my husband, the one who made mistakes, the one who almost destroyed everything, but not the monster who tried to replace himself. Ryan is now serving life in prison. Daniel faces charges, but cooperated fully after realizing Ryan had manipulated him further. And me? I still lock the doors twice at night, because I learned something terrifying. You can live beside someone for years and never truly know who they are. If this story shook you even a little, tell me your city in the comments and subscribe, because sometimes the truth is stranger than fear. And sometimes the person sitting next to you isn't who you think they are.